Pavanello leads this Treviso side out onto what looks like a brand new playing surface, never mind anything else. The place is in absolutely great nick. Pavanello, one of 7 internationals up front, and watch out for the 2 flankers who did so well against Ireland at the end of the Six Nations, Favreau and Zani. In the backs, Matt Berquist, the New Zealander, stays in the outside half position, and lots of experience with Luke McLean at the full back position. Treviso side, who finished 7th in the league last year, have made great strides. They have a very, very strong squad, something like 26 internationals in their squad. In that respect, incidentally, they've been overtaken by Glasgow, who have something like 28 internationals in their squad. Ulster, well, a mere 20, and 6 of those are new caps in the last season. And here's a man who's been missed at Ravenhill so far this season, captaining the side, as he did for a couple of successive seasons before that went to Johan Muller of South Africa. Just twice last year, Rory Best led Ulster in league games, and he's really been looking forward to this. Back in home turf, having been a British and Irish land during the summer. And there's another man who's a double British and Irish land, Tommy Bowe. Big changes in the Ulster pack. Rory Best back in the front row, as is Ricky Lutton. Dan Toohey returns to the second row with a partner, Ian Henderson, and a couple of changes. One in personnel in the back row. Robbie Dyack starts at 6. Roger Wilson moves to 8. And again, sweeping changes behind the scrum. Paul Marshall returns to partner Paddy Jackson. Jared Payne at outside centre for the first time this season. Back is Tommy Bowe, and starting at full-back is Craig Gilroy, who was a sub against Connacht last week in Galway. 2 solid-looking replacements, the benches. A lot of internationals, though, in that visiting replacement lineup. Tommy Bowe's been itching to get back to playing at Ravenhill. There's the referee, Ian Davis, from Wales, refereeing his 10th league game, and he was the man in charge a fortnight ago when Ulster went on to Glasgow.
Ulster, time on Marshall, please.
So Paddy Jackson starts the first of 4 games in this season between Ulster and Treviso. 2 in the league, this one toward the end of February, and in December back-to-back games in the Heineken Cup. And a good start by Ulster from the outset, holding the ball up and getting the first scrum. Very positive.
Yeah, very positive, Jim. Ulster have been traditionally slow starters at home over the last season or so. It'd be nice to see them start with precision and accuracy, get their teeth into this game early and give Treviso something to think about.
Well, for the first time I think that I can certainly remember, Treviso fielding the same 15 on successive matches. Normally there's an awful lot of rotation, and from one week to the other there may be as many as 7 or 8 changes, but not so. And they must feel that the side that overcame Munster at home last week is good enough to do the job here at Ravenhill against Ulster. Paul Marshall back in the starting 15. Solid looking Ulster scrum, good work by Corton Lutton. Luke Marshall gets across that all important gain line. Paul Marshall, Robbie Dyack. Good thrusting drive by the big back row forward. Paul Marshall again. Henderson, lovely little sidestep. He has the feet of a ballet dancer. Paul Marshall. Rory Best gets his paws on the ball at Ravenhill for the first time for quite a while. Dan Toohey. Jackson moves it wide. Gilroy. That's okay. Here's Luke Marshall again.
Kieran, that's okay, yeah.
Ulster keeping possession. Treviso defence so far has been pretty solid. Dyack again. And again he makes ground. Jackson, that's better. Here comes Tommy Bowe. Oh, lovely release by Bowe. It's Michael Allen. It's going to be a score. He's got it done, I think. Try at the end of the first half in Galway last week, and Michael Allen legged it into the corner. The referee's going to go upstairs to the TMO Marshall Kilgore, but for my money, that's the try.
Yes or no?
Very close, 50-50.
Okay, try, yes or no?
Some great presentation, Jim, by the Ulster forwards carrying there. There was a point that was made last week in really how slow the ruck ball will become. There is such a large emphasis on the ball carrier taking the ball in and getting it back. Michael's just 50-50, isn't it, really?
Well, that is a try.
Benefit of the doubt, I think.
Eduardo Gori came across. His feet were off the ground. Did he touch the outside foot on the line? Ooh, Treviso think it's a try. They're going toward their underneath their own post.
Yeah, close. It's just that outside leg. It's the inside leg. He just gets flipped around in the tackle.
I have a decision.
Does that get in?
He was in touch before he grounded the ball.
Okay, defensive
Well,
line
you
out.
may well have heard Marshall Kilgore say he was in touch before he grounded the ball. So we got ourselves in a bit of a lather, didn't we?
Yeah. Again, Michael Allen, picks up again Jim where he left off last week, full of intent.
Well, there was a coat of paint in that. Enrico Kikato for Treviso. Back from Marco Fusser. Solid hit there by Roger Wilson. That's well managed, but not terribly well cleared by Treviso, and Ulster will get a good attacking line out. The initial thrust was by Mano Vosawai, born in Fiji 30 years ago. Had a little bit of support while Roger Wilson just stopped him in his tracks, and I think Vosawai came off the worst for that. Well, that was very, very close to being an opening try for Ulster, and they'll have to press on this advantage.
Yeah, they will have big start in the game from Robbie Diak, a couple of good carries, and I think this is probably why he's been picked this evening, Jim, as well, really for his line-out speciality. He gives Ulster really another dimension there, and having a jumper at the back of the line-out, but his ball carrying from those first 3 or 4 phases, absolutely first class.
The wonderful angle run by Tommy Bowe coming in off his wing. In fact, Michael Allen was on Tommy's wing.
Keep a gap, please, Green.
Manoa Vosawai, capped now 12 times for Italy. He's in a little bit of trouble there, but he's going to soldier on, one thinks. Roger Wilson's moved to 2 in the line-out. Taken by Tui, who's already divested himself of the red headgear. Rory Best has that ball tucked in, and that's a good driving maul by Ulster. They've made 10 metres, another 10 to go, and they're really heading for the line. If Treviso bring it down, it's going to be a penalty, possibly a penalty try. Ulster driving again. There's Best. What a homecoming this would be. Gets it to Henry. Henry has to try to pivot. Has he got it down? It's very close. And for the second time, I think, in as many minutes, they're going to have to go upstairs.
Absolutely textbook. Great body position from the pack as well, keeping it together. Rory controlling it nicely at the back. We've asked for a quick, hard, fast start from this Ulster pack, and we've certainly got it inside the first 3 minutes.
Well, that's not so good. Ricky Lutton, who's come on leaps and bounds last season, looks as if he's done something to his right leg, and he's in a lot of trouble after a very good opening scrum. Can't quite see. It may just have all collapsed. He might have been in the middle of all of that. It's hard to see, but we were concentrating on what was happening with the ball. Rory Best had it. Chris Henry was assisting, and between them, they couldn't quite get it down because I think Treviso might have got hands underneath. Touch judge was having a good look on the far side as well. Ricky Lutton shaking his head. This would be well, calamitous for him. Paddy McAllister not too far from returning. Adam Macklin still some way off. Declan Fitzpatrick took a bit of a bump in Galway last week, so all of a sudden you're a little bit short in the tight head department, Tony.
Yeah, well, we will be, Jim, and obviously I would imagine more or less everybody in here tonight as well. There's not too much known about Bronson Ross either, and if it is Ricky Lutton who has to go off, then I think Ross is down as a designated tight head replacement, so he's certainly going to have to earn his spurs from the start.
Well, Lutton is up, which is good news. Bronson Ross has been warming up. Lutton has decided to sit down again.
Stop picking.
They're having a really good look at him. They may decide to strap it up very heavily and hope that there's nothing more than a tweak.
Master none, as I say.
Referee's having a little word with the TMO now. Did Ulster? Well, gosh, it's going to be impossible to see there. There's an Ulster backside is across the line, but most importantly of all, there's no sign of the ball. Tom Court's doing his best to encourage the officials to award the try, and I think it's going to be another inconclusive decision here, or a conclusive decision, but inconclusive as far as Ulster's concerned.
Yeah, maybe not the place that you want to have your tight head carrying a lower limb injury, Jim, either, with a 5 metre scrum. Treviso are obviously going to put quite a bit of pressure on here, and If Ricky Lutton's not up to it, we're going to find out quite quickly.
Well, Ulster did well in the first put in. They're 5 metres away. In the last couple of games, Treviso conceded a penalty try to Munster, and the week before that, penalty try to the Clonethley Scarlets. Can they concede a third penalty try in a row?
Bind! Set! Yes, 9.
Tom Court looking very solid there. That is a good scrum. Marshall
Backwards.
is a little bit slow to react there. The ball was out, and Ulster give away the penalty.
Back round.
Roger Wilson, the man penalised. The ball was out there, and Ulster didn't react just quickly enough.
Yeah, it's sloppy, really, isn't it? The lack of accuracy on the Treviso line. Paul Marshall just looking for a nice channel 2 ball, and it's popped out in channel 1, and Treviso now get a chance to clear their lines, but Ulster will be disappointed about that.
This is Matt Berkvist, a 30-year-old from New Zealand, who's had spells with Leinster and with Biarritz. Well, this is the scrum. Ulster in a good position. There was the ball out, and it wasn't really terribly well controlled, and there was that split-second hesitation, and Treviso punched. Enrico Cacato, playing his 4th season with Treviso. I'm not sure what he was doing there, but Dan Toohey's come away with it.
Knock on white.
But he's knocked it forward. Advantage to Treviso. Back to Luke
Ball
McLean.
gone in 5, do you say, Brian?
Australian born Italian
Didn't go 5.
international.
Free kick.
And Ulster get the free kick because the assistant of the touch judge, as I prefer to call him on the far side, said it didn't go 5 metres. Oh, well, it didn't even go 3.
Interesting selection from Ulster tonight, with the fact of Johan Muller being left out, and in some ways you almost feel that either Toohey or Henderson are playing for that second berth, Jim, with Europe just a couple of weeks away as well, so both of them will be very keen to impress.
Well, there's no sentiment in any sport, particularly professional sport. So if things go well tonight, who knows? But with Johan Muller not there, Ulster couldn't have got a better man to captain the side than Rory Best. Ulster just marginally heavier by a pound a man. That's another good Ulster scrum. Great straight back by Tom Court. Marshall, oh, clever on the narrow side. Little chip going nowhere. Taken in by the enormous Christian Loamanu, the Tongan, who's been capped 16 times for Japan. Berkvist nearly squeezed through. Chris Henry just waits. Referee having a good look to see where the Ulster defence is. Outside the 22, Eduardo Gore puts a very clever kick in, and that's well taken by Ulster. Marshall, now can they get something from here? Here's Robbie Dyack. Good drive again, has made good ground. Marshall, Luke Marshall. I'm not sure who's going to chase that, but Ian Henderson's giving it his best shot. And all in all, that's keeping the lid on it. Possession's been given away, but it's not a bad tactical kick.
Yeah, just ramping up the pressure once more. That kick from Paul Marshall, if it comes off, it looks brilliant. If it doesn't, your forwards absolutely hate you. And possibly in that occasion, it might have been better to give it to Tommy, take it back in and set it up. Here we see it on the reverse angle. Defender does well, but if it comes off, Jim, it looks brilliant. If it doesn't come off, there are questions asked.
Well won by Treviso. Dyack almost got the charge done. And Ulster again will get the line out. 7 minutes gone. Ulster across the visitors' line twice. But as they say in American parlance, close but no cigar, Tony.
Yeah, I think Mark Anscombe will be very happy. The start's been as good as we've seen inside the last season. There's no points on the board, but certainly in terms of possession and territory, Ulster well on top.
Well, the most glorious sunset.
13, 42, 26.
Great take by Robbie Dyack. One of the advantages of having him in the back row. He's an extra jumper. And Rory Best doing what he does best, having thrown the ball in. Helps to set it up. Jackson, Payne, lovely angle by the New Zealander. Paul Marshall again, Jackson, Gilroy. Hung on to by Ludovico Natolia. Paul Marshall, Henderson. Runs into Cacato. Let's to get it back. Bow. Makes a decent bit of ground. Paul Marshall, Payne. Very nearly slipped through. Paddy Jackson is there. One of 4 former Methodist College pupils in the Ulster backer. What a sidestep by Tom Court. Penalty's gone against Treviso, and Ulster get it away. The pass was forward. The referee's going to bring them back for the penalty. And at this stage, given the way they're playing, Ulster maybe be thinking about should we run this or go for the 3 points?
I think they'll take the points at this stage, but a couple of great passages of play, and again, important for young kids watching at home. Watch the presentation by the Ulster forwards in particular. It's at that arm's length away, making it nice and easy for Paul Marshall to move the ball, and that's what's giving Ulster quick phase possession and a chance to attack the outside Treviso backline.
Well, Tom Court doing a fair impression of Ian Henderson's sidestep there.
Strictly come dancing.
Rather, it's safe to say that about Tom Court from this distance away from the pitch.
I'll referee the break time. Cheers.
Heard the referee say to one of the Ulster players, I'll referee the breakdown. I think Paul Marshall might just have been having a little complaint about what Treviso were doing at the break. Look at Tom Court. My goodness, I've seen international centres who couldn't do that.
The pity just didn't happen to look the other way. Ricky Lutton, lovely trail line just on his inside, and potentially might have had a chance of going over.
Well, coming up to 10 minutes played, I don't think Treviso have been in the Ulster half once.
Yeah, it's fine. He's tucked along. Can we speed the
And it's Paddy Jackson for the first points of the evening. Well, that's the roar Raven I wanted to hear. Paddy Jackson puts it between the visitors' posts, and with just over 10 minutes gone in the first half, Ulster's outside half has put his side 3-0 up.
Nothing really less than Ulster deserve. They've been completely on top. It's taken 10 minutes, but it's been full, good intent and good purpose.
Bergfus, who had a spell a few seasons ago with Leinster, only played a couple of games. Paul Marshall.
White
Back to
stop,
Jackson.
7.
He skied that a bit. It's still a good kick,
Play.
taken quickly by Luke McLean. Play on. This is Simone Favaro. Tackled by Lutton. Gordy gets it away. Bergfus looking for a little bit of space. Kikato knocked it forward. Touch judge on the near side, I think, signalled to the referee, who was unsighted. So it's going to be an Ulster scrum. So Ulster attacking well. And so far, given that they haven't had to do much defending, they've defended well.
A super clearance kick from Paddy Jackson, and again the defensive line well set and full of intent.
I think Treviso have had to put into the scrum so far.
Bind! Set! Yes, mate.
Solid scrum. Good work by Lutton and Court yet again. Paul Marshall. Jackson misses out Luke Marshall. Payne. Oh, nicely taken, and Gilroy's just spilled it. Still there for Treviso. Bergfus is missed out. The enormously powerful Vossawai takes it on. Gorey. Did he knock that forward? No, says the referee. Has a little salty on the narrow side. Paul Marshall slows him down. Swept away by Alberto Scarbi. Ulster pushing Treviso across the park. They need to try to break that line. Alessandro Zanni, now 77 times capped for Italy. Bergfus. Vossawai again.
Advantage, White knock on green.
Ball was knocked forward, and Ulster have got the advantage. Paul Marshall. Now if they can shift this. Clever kick by Jackson. Luke Marshall. A little bit too much on it. But certainly Ulster playing a much more expansive game than we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, they are. Great turnover from Chris Henry at the breakdown. Again, just that's the second kick we've seen, really. Yes, potentially it was on, but was a safer option maybe to keep it in hands? Hard to say.
It was a very clever piece of defending by the young Treviso centre, Michele Campagnaro, because he closed right up, and his presence forced Paddy Jackson into the kick, which he normally wouldn't have preferred to do. Treviso shortened the line out. Dummy throw, which is a free kick against them. So Ulster may go for the tap, or they may go for the scrum. And Rory Best has called for the scrum, given that Ulster are pretty comfortable therein.
The scrum could become more of an attacking option this year. Again, as in Galway last week, we've had a nice settled platform. with the scrum half being able to get the ball away cleanly at the back of the scrum. All too often in years gone past, it's been a mess, reset. Whereas now, scrum half and out half can work well together, and potentially we can see some back move off it.
Bind! Set! Yes, 9.
Yes, 9, says the referee, and at that point the scrum half must put it in. Treviso get the feet on, it's gone down, but Ulster have it. Jackson misses out Luke Marshall, Payne, Gilroy, Tommy Bowe. Well, caught and kicked in one movement. How he did that, I just don't know. This is a Ludo Natalia into a little bit of space.
Right, running into his own man. Back.
Well covered by Paul Marshall. Robbie Dyack gets it at the second attempt. Shrugs off Alberto Scarbi. Ulster back to halfway. Not for long. Jackson.
Move, Green!
Jackson set it up. Rory Best. Dan Tui. Good presentation. Rory Best cleverly takes it down the narrow side. Punches getting swung there. Referee still happy. Michael Allen at scrum half. Jackson. He's given that a fair bit of air. Well taken by Natalia. Quickly away. This is breakfast. Gilroy just checked and spins and gets away. A bit of a gap here on the narrow side. If Ulster can exploit it, but it's been well closed down by Luke McLean. Paddy Jackson. Tui again. Thought about the one-handed offload to Ian Henderson. Had it been successful, nobody was going to catch Henderson.
Yeah, it's just sloppy again. Ulster just need to. They've spent the first 10 minutes building pressure. Now that's a miracle ball, really. He's going for it. If it comes off, it looks fantastic, but it's a 10% ball as opposed to a 70 or 80 in terms of what we're looking for.
Well, Tommy Bowe caught and kicked in just one movement. Well, 15 minutes gone, and for all Ulster's dominance, only the 3 points to show for it.
You slap the hand, they pull you off the ball.
One looks
I've
back
had a word, but
only to a fortnight ago when, you know, what was it, 13-6 up and it stayed, or 12-6 and 12-6, it stayed 12-6, and Glasgow stole it right at the end. Ulster will not want to be in that similar position.
No, they won't, but there's a lot of there's good shape to the side tonight as well. Everybody's performing their role first and foremost. And it's good to see backs getting in there and rucking as well. We're finding some people isolated, and the back is finding himself closest, and he's happy to go in and secure possession. That's pivotal in terms of being able to keep the ball, and then obviously to try and recycle and get some shape back onto it later on. But Tommy doesn't look out of place at all, as if he's hardly been away.
Now the sign of a good player makes it look so easy. So the first put into the scrum for the visitors this evening.
Middle.
And penalty straight away against Ulster.
Going straight to the floor, 3 point.
Ricky Lutton's legs just left him, and the referee gave the penalty against him. And there's a chance now for Treviso to level things up, and all that work by Ulster in the opening 15 minutes will have been completely cancelled out if this goes over.
I think that's good refereeing. That's the first one that's gone down. He's set a standard, his marker. He's not going to take any messing about. Now he just has to, again, be correct and stick to that point of principle the whole way through the match. I don't think Ricky Lutton can have too many complaints there.
Okay.
Burke was man of the match last week against Munster. 19 points he scored. Played rugby in his native New Zealand for Otago and Hawke's Bay and Auckland. Played for the Highlanders and the Crusaders in the Super 14 tournament. Well, he's hit that very nicely, and that's a very good kick. And just over 17 minutes gone, and we're back to level pegging. Mark Burquist has leveled things up. Ulster 3 and Treviso 3.
I think we're being critical there. That goes back to Dan Tui, one-handed pass. It shows that Ulster have to play the game in the Treviso half. Treviso have a 10 that can kick points, so it's important we keep them out of range.
My use is Belfast here.
So Paddy Jackson to restart. Michael Allen as ever is chasing it. That's gone loose. Pulled in though by Treviso, who've managed to tidy up the loose ball. Gorey. Well covered by Wilson. Well, he had men outside him. He's opted to drive and set it up, which he's done well. Run away by Marshall. Jackson to get back into Treviso territory. That's a huge kick. A spill backward.
No, he's not. Kick back off right.
Came back off an Ulster player, says referee Ian Davis.
Back off Green, hit the white player on the floor.
Treviso outflank Ulster. No, but they're trying to go through the middle. Good covering tackling by Wilson, who got out well. There's a clever little kick. Taken by Payne. Good offload to Gilroy, who's well shackled. Marshall on the narrow side. Gilroy. Payne playing it outside centre for
advantage.
Only the 4th time.
Nothing come in. 2 knock-ons. First from White.
And Ulster have produced yet another knock-on. So after a flawless opening 10-12 minutes, just about, they've now started to make a few little errors.
That's the only issue with playing this high-tempo game and the offloading game as well. Roger tries just to get the offload in. Ricky Ludden probably should have taken that as one of those. It's come out, but with trying to play this style of game, mistakes do come, turnovers do come. If it comes off, it looks brilliant. If it doesn't come off, invariably the ball goes back to the opposition.
Time back on.
That referee had called time off to TMO Marshall Kilgore, and then he said time back on again.
Crunch!
Second successive scrum for Treviso. Also will be looking to put some kind of pressure on. That's gone down on the Treviso tight head side, but the referee seems to be happy enough. Gorey gets it away. Bergfist knocked forward by the youngster Campanero. Jared Payne was in an offside position, and he's still playing advantage, I think, and he'll go back for the scrum to Ulster.
Great midfield attacking position here, with a chance for the Ulster backs to split and show one of their moves that they have up their sleeves. Interesting with the fact that Ulster also have Treviso in the European group as well, but I don't think that we're leaving anything out of the playbook tonight. I think if it's on, Ulster will bring it out and try and use it.
It was knocked forward by Michele Campagnaro, the youngest member of the Treviso side, only 20 years of age. Played for Italy at under 20s and in the 7-a-sides.
Bind! Set!
Ulster haven't quite split the forces, most of them out to the far side, the Ulster right. That's a good squeeze by Treviso. Picked up by Wilson. Needs a little bit of help, he's got it now. Ulster tight forwards, thought the ball was still in. Well driven forward again by Roger Wilson, who was outstanding in Galway last week. Here goes Henderson. Seems to just glide past the first couple of tacklers. Taken by Tue, has to hang on to it this time, and he does. There's obviously a number. Pavanello's got him. Paul Marshall, Jackson. Payne very nearly through, still going. Look, Marshall, no mistake this time by the Irish centre. Took a while. Referee's having a good look to see if there was a forward pass 2 weeks ago against Glasgow in a similar position. Luke Marshall spilled it, but they're going to go upstairs for the 3rd time in a row.
Checking the final pass.
Marshall Kilgore's going to check the final pass. Well, if this one doesn't go Ulster's way, it'll be 3. Gosh.
It all goes in the motion of the hands, doesn't it? And it's going to be close.
Did the hands go backwards? That looks flat-ish. Maybe I'm looking at it through Ulster tinted specs.
Again,
Payne did so well to make the initial thrust.
Doesn't Sean Payne stay on his feet so well, but again, carrying the ball in 2 hands, making it available.
Well, Payne's hands were going backward.
Ian, I have a decision. The hands went back.
The hands went back?
Yes, you may award the try.
Marshall Kilgore says the hands went back, and the try has been awarded. And Luke Marshall, denied a try a couple of weeks ago, gets this one here tonight.
Doesn't he run those short lines well? Last week in Galway, we saw 3 or 4 examples running off Paddy Jackson, taking the ball into the hole, beating defenders, getting well across the gain line. That's a great trail line there.
And Paddy Jackson has added the extras. So into the second quarter of this game, and Ulster have stretched their lead now to 10 points to 3. Fully justified given their possession and position on the field.
Yeah, completely. The presence of Dr. David Irwin sitting beside us. As a former centre, I'm sure he enjoyed the interplay between the two guys there.
Stop, White.
Jackson's given that a huge thump.
Play.
Taken quickly though by McLean. There goes Favaro. Taken down in Ulster's 10-metre line. Treviso will try to bounce straight back. Bergqvist to Zani. Second of 2 World Cups for Italy. Bergqvist again. Away to DiMarchi, the tight head prop. Oh, what a great piece of play by Michael Allen. Wonderful upper body strength. Here's Dan Tue. Well taken by Jackson. And that's not a bad option because the 3 backs outside him were actually flat. There's Tommy Bowe has very nearly gathered it. The crowd were almost in ecstasy there as one of the all-time favourites very nearly juggled and jiggled and readjusted to catch that ball.
Still playing advantage.
Referee still playing advantage for the knock forward. And the dash for some reason came flying out, and they'll go back. And Tommy Bowe shakes his head, wondering, what do I have to do to catch this ball?
I don't think there'll be too many tight heads running at Michael Allen again. The way he's just, it's almost candy from a baby there, wasn't it? So strong.
And we mentioned before the weights that Michael Allen was shifting in the gym. 1 little jiggle, 2 little jiggles, and even the dexterous Tommy Bowe couldn't quite control that. It sat up beautifully, almost. Oh, hard luck. Well, had he gathered that and got into the try, Ravenhill really would have come alive.
He looks really sharp, Jim, doesn't he? You know, he's full of running, and the confidence that he must give Craig Gilroy playing at fullback as well. Just have the ability to talk. The positions he takes up, moving around him, he's been all over the park. We've seen him in rucks, we've seen him coming off his wing inside, he's turned up on the blind side as well. He just looks really, really hungry for ball.
Bit of a stoppage for Michele Rizzo. The Treviso loose head prop, capped now 8 times. And there's Tommy Bowe. Very delighted that he was kept on by the Lions after breaking his hand. Made an amazing recovery and played in the 2nd and 3rd tests. We'll look at the Ulster try again. Marshall got it away well. Oh, what a wonderful angle by the clever Gerald Payne, and Marshall right at his shoulder took it splendidly. So we're 23 minutes played, 10-3 for Ulster. Played pretty poorly in the opening game against the Dragons. Had their moments against Glasgow, but failed to put them away. And came away with a win from Connacht last week. Ulster penalised for deliberately whipping the scrum round. You're allowed to drive, and if it goes round through 90 degrees, that's fair enough, but deliberately whipping the scrum round, which involves one prop pulling and the other prop pushing.
Rory Best almost had won against the tight head there. It's lovely to see the hookers back doing what they should be doing, striking for the ball. Rory almost taking one against the opposition there.
Struck nicely by the Australian-born Italian fullback Luke McLean. Needs one more appearance for Italy to reach the half-century. First capped away back in 2008 against South Africa, and played in all 4 games for Italy in the 2011 World Cup. Enrico Ciccato. Free kick against Ciccato for delaying the put, and the referee did say to him, come on, get it in. And maybe he was waiting for Manoa Vasawai, who arrived late at the line-out. But when the referee says put the ball in, then you must put the ball in. It's a free kick. I think Paddy Jackson is going to maybe, unless he's going to be overruled by Rory Best. Yes, they thought about it.
If it happens again, I'm going to have to
I think really the only option Paddy had was to put Gary Owen up, and at least by taking the scrum, ideally you maintain possession and get a chance to get the ball into the backs and let's see some attack here, especially with what looks like the Treviso right winger back. Treviso playing really a three and a half defence, so also have a chance in the wider channel down Michael Allen's side here to try and create something.
Well, Mind you, if they get the right shoulder on, they could release Tommy Bowe on the narrow side. Well, they have gone for the narrow side. And a grubber kick by Paul Marshall, and shepherded into touch by Luke McLean. They're very fine margins with kicks like that, and Marshall got it absolutely spot on.
Yeah, they are, but that's what your forwards want to see. Your forwards want to get their head out of the scrum and see that they're going forward. What they don't want to see is your scrum halves attempted a kick against nothing, really. Possession's been given away, and they're 20 yards turning and having to go backwards.
They get it in quickly this time, taken by Marco Foser. There are 7 internationals in this hefty-looking Treviso pack. Fossawai controlling the ball. Eduardo Gori, who played against Ireland in the last game of the Six Nations, gets it away. Also need to be careful that they don't get themselves offside. Well, that's all over the place. Nobody's claimed it in the ground, and Tom Court might just have done that. And the touch judge's flag goes up for a line-out to visitors.
Fantastic ball kick there from Gorey. Tommy Bowe tried to come on to it, but just too many bodies in his way. That really is all that Treviso have. I think if we look at it in the first half, they haven't really tried very much apart from the aerial way, and it's important that Ulster deal with that competently and get the ball back.
It's a good, strong Treviso side. 12 of the starting 15 are internationals. There are 5 more on the bench. Ulster have 11 starting and 1 on the bench. Zani took it well. Gorey, Bergqvist. Gilroy's outside is 22. No problems. Taken off at the ankles. Bowen to help his colleague. Chris Henry as ever. Well taken by Henderson. Bruising run by the youngster. Roger Wilson, who's outside, and the answer is Tui. Treviso man is down injured. More about that in a second. Tommy Bowe, the Lone Ranger, out in the right.
Taken back in by White.
Taken back inside, and Jackson kicks. McLean on halfway. Tries to get outside Payne. But Payne and Marshall shut him down. Gorey, who's played well. Pavanello, the captain. Tom Court effected the tackle. Gorey again. That's to nobody in particular. Paul Marshall. It was a bit of a roar when he steps off on one of those runs. Craig Gilroy gets away. He's got somebody with him. Out to go to Jackson. Nice little sidestep for the outside half. Marshall again. Tom Court has to give it. He does. Rory Best. Chris Henry. They're queuing up. Jared Payne. And to Michael Allen. This time he does get the try. Fabulous piece of handling. No doubt about it this time. No TMO required. Michael Allen denied one in the opening minute. Finally gets one.
Tom Court and Rory Best doing a great impression of Paddy Jackson in midfield and having the ability to sense that the space is on the outside. 2 good passes, keeping the ball in front of the man. Chris Henry just draws and gives. Again, pay and draw and give. Michael Allen has all the room and time in the world to scorch around the outside.
Well, Andrew Trimble is still to come back into the mix in terms of wing 3/4, and of course Craig Gilroy's a wing 3/4, and Michael Allen's performances certainly in Galway last week and here tonight are keeping him very much in the mix.
Certainly, if you're picking him form rather than reputation, he's going to be a hard man to leave out at the minute.
Well, Mark Anscombe just passing on some information on his left-hand side. Johnny Bell, video analyst, former Ulster and Irish outside half Niall Malone there as well. So the Ulster Brains Trust must be reasonably pleased. Visitors seem to be getting themselves ready to make a replacement. Might well be replacement scrum half Fabio Semenzato. We shall see in a second. So the half-hour mark approaching. He's just pulled that. So no conversion for Paddy Jackson, but with half an hour gone, also leading by 15 points to 3. And it's Alberto Di Bernardo, who's an outside half normally has come on, and I think Bergqvist has gone off. There's the finish by Michael Allen. No mistake this time. False start. They've got to go back into the traps for that. I thought you only allowed 1 false start, then you were disqualified. So 7 of the... they have made another replacement. Robert Barbieri has come on, and the number 8, Manoa Vasawai, who got hurt initially in his first collision with Roger Wilson, has gone off. Well taken by Paul Marshall. And that's a very good kick by Paul Marshall. Took it and kicked it in one fluid movement.
Sensible option. Let's get the ball, playing the Treviso half. Ulster have built pressure well, and now they're starting to see the fruits of their labour. Space starting to open, but again, it's important that they keep the ball, go through the phases, build the pressure, and the points will come.
So Treviso with 2 replacements. Barbieri on to play in the back row, and Di Bernardo played outside half. Well taken the back by Zani, Gori. This is Di Bernardo. To Cato. Fusa runs into the rock that is Tom Court. Gori, Zani. Also take the veteran down around the ankles. Good work by Ricky Lutton and Dyack. To Cato again. Eduardo Gori looking for Pavanello, his captain. His opposite captain, Rory Best, slows him down. Bit of a spill there, Di Bernardo. What a tackle by Marshall on Fuster, who's about 4 times his size. Di Bernardo. Ulster's first up tackling is very aggressive, not allowing Treviso any genuine room at all. Here's Luke McLean, who can run a bit. Not if he's tackled like that by Robbie Dyack. That's spilled forward. Well won on the ground by Ricky Lupton. Marshall thinking about the kick because he knew that Gilroy was chasing. That's a fabulous kick. Bit of obstruction there. Touchdown's not getting involved. Natalia nearly gets away. Roger Wilson followed up well. Back to Gori. Taken inside the 22. And that's not a bad kick. Alan lets it just drift inside his 22. And Jackson, I think, will settle things down with what looks to be and is a very efficient kick to touch.
He's hitting that out of the screws this evening whenever he's kicking for touch. Very obvious, though, that Ulster have worked during the week on their pillar and post defence from where it was in Galway last week. Big tackle from Paul Marshall, just chops him at the knees. Ulster looked very sound, though, around the side of Rickham Mall. That's somewhere where Coney gave them a lot of problems last week.
Bit of lazy running there by one of the Treviso players, but didn't warrant a penalty. Pride and fine voice, as well they may be. 7 minutes to go. Ulster still in that. Rory Best gets it away. Roger Wilson bludgeons his way forward. Marshall. Dyack has a bit of a shuffle and a bit of a juggle. Back quickly. Marshall. Luke Marshall. Saw half a gap.
Advantage Green. 2 knock-ons. First come from White, second then from Green.
Just spilled forward in that attempt by Paul Marshall to get it away to Jared Payne. Payne was almost impeded there, but there wasn't much between them.
They're combining really nicely, reading the play off each other very well. Bit of interchange on that occasion where Marshall takes it, but again, both of them attacking where the space is, and generally if you carry the ball into contact, the space is close to the tackle. It's not that passing distance wider. Marshall for his try, and Payne on that occasion changing their angle and coming back to where the ball is, in tight to the tackle.
Bind! Set!
6 minutes remaining. That's the Treviso 10-metre line on the left of your screens. Scrum's not quite set. That's the first one that's had to be restarted.
And get the ball in quicker. Yes line's not an instruction to push. Yes. All right. I don't want them pushing, and you get the ball in faster. Okay.
Ian Davis asking Ulster not to push until the ball goes in, but equally telling Eduardo Gori to get the ball in a lot quicker.
Crouch!
Just a 3-sequence scrummage now.
Bind! Set!
Crouch, bind and set. No touch or pause. Great drive by Ulster, and that was in crooked. And that's given Ulster the free, and Rory Best, I'm sure, will up for an Ulster scrum, which has worked pretty well this evening.
Tom Court's just starting to turn the screw a little bit there on the Ulster loose head side. Waiting for the ball to come in and then just dipping under his man, bending those legs and just getting the drive on.
Was the Ulster tight head side? Well, that was definitely not down the middle.
I know. It's hard to see as well.
If he does it again, of course, it's a penalty, and after that, it's a yellow card. Tommy Bowe has just moved ominously infield, lurking somewhere behind Paddy Jackson. Good control by Roger Wilson. Marshall, Jackson. Luke Marshall. Gilroy in the line. Couldn't get it away to his former Methody Skills Cup winning teammate, Michael Allen. Ulster player coming at the side might well have been Chris Henry, not sure. Gilroy did well.
It was the pass that really did for Gilroy there. Just too high, had to jump to take it and take it into his chest, and didn't have the opportunity then to bring the ball out and move it in one go.
Well, the fact that Gilroy had to sort of leap up into the air completely destroyed any momentum that he may have had. I know it's 100 years. The guy was taught to when you're passing to put the ball in front of the player, so he had to stretch and reach into it with two hands, which allowed him to give it with two hands as well. Well taken by Fusser. Di Bernardo. Campagnaro very nearly got through. Speedy young man. Crossed the Scarlet's line a couple of weeks ago, but was denied for a forward pass earlier on. That looked a bit high from Dan Toohey. Referee is playing advantage for the high tackle. This is Scarby, the Italian international. One of 12 in the line-out. Referee still playing advantage. Campagnaro. Good defence by Ulster. Spilled forward. Still there for the Italians. Intercepted by Ulster. But the referee's going to bring them back for the penalty. And I guess if this is kicked, 3 points is better than conceding 7. Ulster will not want to end this half having that gap closed any more than possible.
No, ideally not. Dan Toohey, not a lot of malice in that or intent, just slightly beaten again. See the use of the feet by the Treviso player, trying to get to that outside shoulder.
Well, that was. I mean, Toohey's forearm made contact with the shoulder, and then the arm slipped up around the neck. So there was nothing deliberate there. There was no malice, but the actual act itself would have deemed to be foul play, and that warranted the penalty. Marco Fusser seems to be in the wars, the 6'6". There's Michele Rizzo, now 31 years of age, and he's going to be replaced. So they're falling thick and fast in this Treviso side, and on comes the man born in Buenos Aires 34 years ago, Ignacio Fernandez Rue, capped 7 times for his adopted country of Italy. McLean finds a pretty decent touch, not as close to the Ulster line as he probably would have wished for. Born in Townsville in Australia. First time I think they've had a set piece inside the Ulster 22 for the duration of this game, and we've only about 2 minutes or so to go to the interval. Treviso confident enough to go for the scrum rather than the long-range penalty. Ulster battling away. Barbieri being held by Tom Court, the replacement flanker. Court gets back round on Ulster's side. Treviso trying to churn forward. Toohey goes in. So a little bit on the slow side, but Treviso still in possession. Ulster forced them to turn round, and Ulster have taken it in. And what a good piece of defensive mauling by Rory Best and his forwards.
They've done very well there. It's incredibly difficult to stop that whenever the ball is at the back of 3 or 4 forwards. Referee's obviously very hot and trying to pick up guys coming in the side as well, and it's important that Ulster, whenever they do hit, they make it count, stay on their feet and not give away the penalty.
Rory Best hobbling a little bit. Gareth Robinson, the senior physio in the Ulster squad, just on having a look at his captain.
Stay back 10 the line out.
First game for Rory Best since the Lions tour. Played in 4 games. Captained the side against the Brumbies, and alas, they lost that particular game.
Yeah, the 10 is all there. And the maul, just be careful how you come on the side and end up right.
Well, 12 points up, Ulster, 2 tries.
Okay.
Crowd would certainly be looking for something similar in the second half to give them the bonus point win, but first and foremost, the win's important. Okay. Antonio Pavanello, who speaks exceptionally good English, having a word with the referee about something. Barbieri has gone straight into the number 8 position, is normally a flank forward.
Closer, come closer. Crouch! So let's start again.
Little glance by Roger Wilson just to see who's out on his left wing. The answer is Michael Allen. Ian Davis in his second Ravenhill appearance in a fortnight.
Crouch!
Brings them together again.
Bind! Set! Yes.
Marshall didn't need any second invitation.
Sit
Got
down,
it in
back
quickly.
rows.
Ulster trying to crab forward.
Turn around legally.
Oh, that's a good scrummage by Treviso. Ulster might have just released that a little bit more quickly because Treviso
Legally.
have started to put a little bit of pressure on. Now there was the scrum, and well, it wasn't a whip round. They did come round, and Ulster front row just coming up a little bit out of the scrum, and Treviso have got to put in. If they're going to score, they have to do it from here, Tony, because this is the last minute of the first half.
Yeah, we're right on the blow here. Roger really didn't have anywhere to go at the back of that scrum, with Treviso getting their loose head side up. It was the touchline, or else try to keep it in as he did, and unfortunately the wrong option.
Set!
Ulster trying to get the squeeze in. Oh, that's unfortunate for Treviso. Wilson wasn't too sure what was going on there. He missed it. Back inside, still there. Zani tidies it up for Treviso. Ulster look as if they're going to grab that and clear it. Cavanello. Gorey. Here comes Treviso. Di Bernardo tries to spread it, get away by Favaro. Luke McLean. Good Ulster defence. We played 40 minutes. All the pressure now coming from the visitors. Favaro takes it on. Di Bernardo out to tight head prop to Marchi. And Michael Allen is in there wrestling like a good one. Di Bernardo. Ciccato. Tackled by Chris Henry, who's got to get back, and he does. Di Bernardo. Good defence by Paddy Jackson. One thing he does really well, among many things he does really well. And also get the penalty.
He's off his feet.
And I'm sure if they go to touch, that will be the end of the first half. And also just took the foot off the pedal, I think, Tony, in the last 10 minutes there.
Again, the one thing Roger possibly number 8s are screamed at all the time for not scrummaging. I think he was maybe too intent in the scrummaging side of things there, and the ball squirted out. But having Jackson and Marshall defended really tightly, and you know they've missed nothing in midfield, scrapping for everything, and Paddy eliciting the turnover in that occasion, giving Ulster a chance to get it into touch.
Well, Ulster will be pretty happy with their first half efforts. Luke Marshall's score of one of the tries, Michael Allen's score of the other. Ulster maybe had a couple of tries which were denied them in the opening 5 minutes, but they'll be pretty happy with the scoreline at half-time that reads Ulster 15 and Treviso 3.
Well, the Lion, Rory Best, back to captain Ulster tonight. He certainly led by example. 2 tries, it could have been more. The Italian line-out, all sorts of problems there. No such difficulties for Ulster. The back line looks smooth and slick. 2 touchdowns for Luke Marshall and Michael Allen. And Ulster have a comfortable 15 points to 3 lead at half-time. 5 points from Paddy Jackson. Well, Brent Cunningham and Andy Ward have been enjoying that first half with me. That's more like it from Ulster, Brent.
It certainly is. I thought the intensity was really, really good. The physicality's right up there, and you can see how desperate they are to keep Treviso outside of that 22, their own 22, as was illustrated at the very end there by Paddy Jackson and Chris Henry twice. The line speed has been outstanding, and Treviso look like lost souls behind the gain line.
Now, we talked before the game, Andy, about how important it was for Ulster to get on the front foot early, and that's exactly what they did.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I think it's for the first time this season. Even last week they weren't on the front foot. They just seemed a little bit more buzzed up tonight for some reason, whether it's the inclusion of those internationals coming in, but the back line looks very, very well balanced. The forwards are playing well. We talked about physicality right at the top, as you said, and the boys are getting in amongst it. And Treviso, I think, a little shell-shocked here. They probably thought they're going to come out and be a bit more physical than they were. Ulster's turned it back in their face and really taken the game to them, and thankfully we can sit here and have a bit of crack now.
Jared Payne has shown his real class so many times already this season, and another piece of class play for Ulster's try.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why they're trying him at 13 as well, because he hits such lovely lines. I mean, we'll see here. I mean, we'll see the build-up first of all. Obviously he's got to start from a solid enough platform. I mean, they get the wheel on, and you know, Roger Wilson shows a great bit of strength here to get over that gain line. He's obviously got help from his friends as well. But this is where they need to get the ball moving quickly. They're getting over the gain line time and time again. Henderson has been carrying well. Like all the forwards tonight have been carrying very, very well. Marshall knows that the move is on. Get it in field. One pass, get the forwards running, and good quick ball to unleash these backs. And this angle, I mean, that's just beautiful. And the little handoff, and then get two hands back onto the ball. Luke Marshall following through.
They went to the TMO, Andy. Did it look forward to you?
No, it didn't. Everybody's going to say yes and no, but listen, the rules state that now that if the movement of the hand is going backwards, that's good enough for anybody, and that's exactly what happened. You show the replay, and as soon as I saw the hand movement going backwards, I knew that was going to be a try. But for me, what's creating all these things tonight is Paddy Jackson's taking that ball right on that front foot, and that is where he is so fantastic, so dynamic, and with guys on his outside who are explosive, running beautiful lines like that try illustrated, that's exactly the way Ulster need to play.
Bryn, what have you made of Michael Allen's performance this evening?
Very, very impressive. He's very physical. We know that. We know he likes to get off the line, likes to hit people hard in the tackle. That's one of the reasons why Anscombe likes to select him. We'll see here early on when it comes from a Treviso turnover. Again, it's good line speed as well by Ulster time and time again here. They get up, get through on the ball. And you know, once this goes in the hands, Paul Marshall assesses the options. Very, very clever. Just stands a couple of defenders up. And Gilroy, we talked at the top of the show about how he's very, very good in close quarters and gets that ball away.
We thought at that point there he might have given the ball a little too early, but what Ulster's a credit to Ulster, they've kept their width on this game here tonight. They've really kept the width, just through the hands, very, very simple. Jared Payne's demanding that ball there, and I have to laugh at this point because once he touches it down, Rory Best, and if you look, they're all pointing, get behind the posts. Do they not pack Paddy Jackson's kicking?
But what I'm impressed with that try was nobody got over anxious. They kept their depth, calm. They stayed calm, they held their patience. That's one of the issues sometimes with the Ulster side, is that they force things inside the 22.
Michael Allen could have scored, of course, before that.
Here we go. I mean, lovely interchange, and to be honest, he had no right to get that close. I thought he did very, very well. Absolutely. At first thought we reckoned it was a try, but the foot maybe was just on the line.
And then, Andy, an example here of his real physicality, a fantastic turnover.
What? He's been absolutely immense, and it's not just in tonight's performance. The last home game here, I thought he had an outstanding match as well, and backed it up again last week. He's coming to the fore and really taking on. He's showing tremendous strength, as you say, for a winger, and it's just beautiful. Everything's well judged, and the maestro, I thought he was going to pull one out of the bag there. I've seen him do that time, and he had a wry smile because he knew that was on as well.
They look dangerous. Every time they get the ball, they look dangerous, and that's what's exciting to watch.
And Rory Best back this evening with some real added dynamism to this Ulster performance. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, you can see that he's so effective in the loose. I mean, right from the very beginning, looks good there as well, running out. But his first line out throw right on the money. That's exactly what you want to see. But as also his first couple of impacts held the guy up in a tackle. That's what we see from Rory time and time again. Just orchestrating and doing a lot of the basic things just extremely well.
He's just got great composure, and that's something that experience has got him. He's a world-class player now. Let's make no mistake. We're very fortunate to have him in the pack. Still got the ball here. I would just like to have seen him. Brendan and I talked about this at the time. Why don't guys just drive an extra 4 or 5 yards past the line as opposed to score right on the line? But listen, he plays like another back row. This guy is strong. He's so strong on the ball. He just turns over more ball than most of our back rows.
And I think there you saw his little pick and go. He just realises there's nothing else on. It's the right decision. The ball's sitting there. Scrum half is maybe a yard behind him. There's a little bit of a gap there. He just does the right things, and that's experience.
Yeah. Andy, you talked about Paddy Jackson and how good he is coming on to the ball. He's been practicing very, very hard at his goal kicking. He was here, look at this afternoon at 2:30 practicing his goal kicking. Kicking tonight, Bryn, how would you assess his performance?
I think Paddy Jackson's been excellent tonight. I think he's grown in confidence over the past few weeks. We know that he's come under criticism towards the end of last season, and how Ian Madigan was starting to really push through in terms of the Irish setup. But I mean, look at that. That's all your forwards want, an opportunity to contest the ball.
I think he's making the right decisions tonight, you know, and the boys are really giving him that perfect platform, and I just like to see him. Paddy's a fantastic footballer, but he just lacked a little bit of confidence towards the end of last season, and just got himself a little too deep in the pocket, and wasn't the way Paddy Jackson that we know plays. And tonight, thank for goodness that he's back into the zone again. He seems to be taking the ball short. Whether he's got confidence with the boys outside him, I think it's given him a little bit, but maybe someone's had a word in his ear and says, Paddy, just attack it, go out there and play the way you can play, and that's all we ask for, and I think that's happening.
Okay, Andy Bryn, we'll leave it there for the moment. Since arriving from Italy last season, Nick Williams has become a big Ravenhill favourite. Thomas Niblock caught up with him for coffee this week.
Good to see you, fella. Good to see you, man.
Il mio nome è Bruno.
Il mio nome è Nick.
Nick, piacere. Sei italiano?
Poco.
Ah, veramente bene.
There you go, Nick. Your Italian's not as bad as you pretend it is.
Mate, head and hope, mate. That's all it is.
So transform Italy to Belfast. When you think of Italy, you're thinking of Ferraris, cappuccinos, lattes, Milan Fashion Week. Bang, straight into Belfast. And you're loving the place.
Yeah, mate. I mean, you make of it what you want. Belfast has been nothing but a success, you know, both personally and as a family and as a team, I guess. I never thought I'd say that I've been really enjoying the weather here.
Don't get used to it. So you're here a year now. Pro 12 Players Player of the Year. That must be a nice accolade to pick up last year.
Ulster have done wonders for my rugby career, and you know, they bought into how I play, and I fully bought into how the team operates. You know, for that I'm very grateful.
Nick Williams is now a daddy of two girls. What's that like?
It's heaven. So I've got 5 sisters and 2 brothers. So I've always been surrounded by beautiful women. It's just a blessing that I've got another 2 to add to my tally.
Final question. Any regrets?
Mate, I'm not going to lie, I never got the chance to wear a black jersey. I would have loved to play for the All Blacks. For one, I gave it a good crack. Didn't happen, so I decided to move on. And I look how my rugby career is going now, and in that sense, I have no regrets whatsoever.
Nick, thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers, bro.
He's a big hitter, but he's really a big softie at heart. Now, Ulster actually aren't the first local team to play the Italian side Treviso this season, as Thomas Niblock can explain pitchside. Thomas.
Stephen, you're absolutely right. Not the first team to play against Treviso. Bangor Rugby Club, like many rugby clubs in Northern Ireland, take part in a summer tour. So Bangor thought they would travel to Italy and ended up playing Treviso. And some of the Bangor players, you might be able to see them behind me, they're going to give us a big wave. They don't usually wear those jackets over their hoodies, but they've done it for special occasions. Club captain Ricky Armstrong, along with his son Oliver, who's very quiet, so we'll interview Ricky, is here. Ricky, how did you end up playing against Treviso?
Well, we already had 2 games planned for the tour, and a couple of weeks before we left, we got the option of a 3rd game, so we sort of got our heads together and said, well, why not? We'll have a game, and it was against Treviso. We presumed it was going to be an amateur team, or maybe their academy team at best, but when we got to the ground, it seemed to be that it was their full team,
So I'm assuming it was your starting first 15 then for Bangor?
No, absolutely not. It was a thrown together sort of anybody who wanted to go on tour, first, seconds, thirds, really anybody. There was a few guys who'd maybe played a handful of games. We're sort of turning up to the stadium at Treviso, and we're like, this is what rugby's all about,
And you actually took the lead.
Yeah, that's right. We kicked off from the start. Somehow I managed to get a penalty in there, 22, and we decided to go for the posts. Probably just to kill a bit of time, to be honest with you. And our winger, who's not even a kicker, he stepped up and slotted the points, and we jogged back and thought flip, they're maybe going to put it on properly now, you know.
And for the sake of the viewers, what was the final score?
Well, they just got back into it and beat us 92-3.
An enjoyable experience, no doubt.
Unbelievable. I mean, as I say, guys who'd never played rugby, let alone tour, you know, they just thought it ended the week absolutely perfectly, you know, great for the club.
Well, Ricky and young son Oliver, thank you very much indeed for your time. No doubt about it, you've enjoyed yourself. I think the voice is still a little bit hoarse from the summer, Steve.
Brilliant, Andy. A great story, but if Ulster don't beat Treviso after that kind of preparation, there's something wrong this evening.
Well, can you say, I actually know Ricky very well, and that's not after a couple of drinks, that's just the way he talks.
Back to tonight's game, Andy. It's more of the same for Ulster to try and close this match out.
Yeah, I think they need to step it up even another notch, to be honest with you. We cannot be complacent. I think for this team to go forward, they've got a good team out here tonight. I think it looks quite a good balanced side here tonight. So I would be really disappointed if we didn't kick on with a bit of authority and real conviction in the way we play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They just got to continue doing what they're doing at the moment. The first half I thought was very impressive. They looked for offloads. One or two went to deck, but I wouldn't discourage it. I would encourage them to keep doing that because guys are hitting nice angles, and I think there are more tries on the table for them tonight.
Okay, brilliant, Andy. Thank you very much indeed. Treviso are on the field. We await Ulster, and it's back to our commentary team, Tony McWhirter and Jim Neely.
Well, the flag's flying, and if Ulster just can maintain this lead and win the game, irrespective of the final score, the flags will be really swinging. I think there's been a change or two perhaps on the Treviso side at the interval. I noticed Dean Budd coming out, and just a little glance as Ulster come out. Rory Best brought them out as he did for the first half. Craig Gilroy is still there. I don't think Ulster have made any changes at the interval, and more about the changes on the visitors side in a second or two. Well, Ravenhill packed. And of course, the next time Ulster play here will be in a couple of weeks' time in the opening game in the Heineken Cup, and that's a game you can share with us on BBC Radio Ulster. So it's the replacement outside half, Alberto Di Bernardo, to get the second half underway. Ulster leading by 15 points to 3. Tries by Luke Marshall and Michael Allen. Conversion and penalty by Paddy Jackson.
Time on, please.
First one from Ian Davis. Put along.
Advantage.
Well, a very, very uncharacteristic spill by Paul Marshall. And there is Dean Budd wearing number 20, the replacement back row forward, who scored 3 tries against Ulster the last time Treviso were here, and the failure to convert the last try drew the game, and Ulster were very lucky to get away with that. Paul Marshall shakes his head.
Stay here, is that okay? Yeah. I'll be close if Crouch! Bind!
Number 6 on the near side of the scrum for Treviso is Favaro. Eduardo Gori waits. And the scrum goes down somewhat untidily as number 21 is Barbieri. Trying to work out just who's gone off. Pavanella was in there. And Dean Budd has actually gone into the second row, so Marco Fusser has gone off. Budd normally a back row forward, but at 6'4", 6'5", he can play in the second row.
Bind! Set!
So early advantage to Treviso. That's a good solid scrum by the visitors, and Ulster conceding ground. Good control at the back by Barbieri. Good tackle by Paul Marshall. Dyak came round to support the scrum half. The men in green and white moving forward. Dan Tui has to hang on to Eduardo Gori. All the pressure coming from Treviso. You know, a try for the visitors at this stage of the game would certainly open the whole thing up. Have Ulster managed to turn it over?
Move forward!
Not quite. Henderson told to get back on side. Here come Treviso, a little flat pass. Scarby. Luke Marshall hangs on to him. Chris Henry, as ever, is in there. Ulster haven't got possession, but they've slowed the whole momentum down. This is Budd.
An advantage to green. Move 3, please, get away quicker.
Ricky Lutton penalised for not getting away in the tackle, and this is going to present Treviso, I'm pretty sure, Tony, with 3 straightforward points.
Yeah, it's a very poor start. Ulster resting on the laurels, really, of what they've done in the first half, and a mitigating disaster really from Paul Marshall there at the kickoff, getting himself in the wrong position, facing head on as opposed to turning his body sideways. That if he has the misfortune of not catching it, at least it has a chance of going backwards.
Well, the pressure coming from Treviso, and not just the knock forward, but the ensuing scrum was rather ominous that Ulster were conceding ground. Di Bernardo's not going to miss from there, and he hasn't missed from there. And the gap has closed to just 9 points on the replacement outside half. Alberto Di Bernardo gets his first point of this game. 15-6 now to Ulster with 3 minutes gone.
Yeah, it's important that Ulster get back in the swing of things quickly here. Get some field position, get some possession, and try and pick up where they left off at the end of that first half. If they let Treviso get back into this, Ulster, it just has that feel of a wobble about it. I know it's early in the second half.
Well, Munster a week ago seemed to be out of sight against Treviso in Treviso, and Treviso gradually came back, not helped by help from their point of view by Munster having 4 men carded in the second half, and Ulster have given away a penalty, not getting away.
Got to get away. No, make an effort. Back and go.
Well, Michael Allen, looking at the referee, put in a terrific tackle, but didn't get away from the man he tackled quickly enough for the referee. An advantage back to Treviso, Tony.
Again, consistency from the referee. Don't think we can argue with that, but an absolute king hit from Michael Allen.
Look, McLean strikes it very nicely. From Natalia, absolutely smashed by, as always, a number of Michael Allen. And according to the referee, he just waited. He couldn't have timed that any better. Natalia wasn't all that much off the ground, but Allen got him when both feet were on the ground. And Treviso have made about 20 metres. Also need to put pressure on this line out. Very nearly. Zani gets above everyone, and that's a good drive. I have a funny feeling, Tony, that Treviso had a good blasting from their coaches in the halftime interval, because look at the way they're playing.
I think it deserved it as well, but there's good intensity from the Ulster back 5 in the scrum. Second rows and back row working very hard to stop that drive. But again, we're just slipping off things here.
Well, back on the Ulster side, perhaps fortuitously away by Craig Gilroy, but there's nobody really chasing that. Christian Loamanu gets all the way back. Born in Tonga, moved to Japan when he was 15 and was for quite a few years the youngest international ever produced by Japan. Played international rugby just a few weeks short of his 19th birthday. But he was given a life ban by the Japanese Rugby Union for consumption of recreational drugs, shall we say. Treviso's set piece is a lot steadier. Eduardo Gori outside his 22. Tommy Bowe, well taken. Released it before he went into touch, but Treviso has snapped it up. They need a scrum half. Di Bernardo obliges. Alberto Di Marchi. Gori, nicely angled. Gilroy really had to sprint.
Stop.
That's infield. Di Bernardo again. Oh, that's nicely done. This is the youngster, Michele Campagnaro. There's a little bit more zest about this. Oh, that's a lovely little break by Treviso on their scrum half. Into number 6, Simone Favaro. It's a totally different Treviso side, and Ulster will really be tested now. Tom Court with the tackle, hanging on for grim death. Tries to get out of the way, picked up by Di Marchi. And Treviso totally transformed from the ragtag outfit of the first 20 minutes or so. Di Bernardo just hesitated very slightly, but Ulster still very much in the back foot and really reeling from all this pressure. Tui with the tackle. Ball has gone out, referee's happy enough. And then he blows his whistle, and he's given the scrum to Treviso for an Ulster knock forward. And what has happened to this Ulster side, and more importantly, what has galvanised Treviso, Tony?
I completely unsighted.
And they've obviously got the hairdryer at half time, and there's no doubt about that. Also just looked flat. It's a bit like the sort of the atmosphere from the crowd as well. There's a disbelief almost. It's complete opposite in terms of what was going on in the first half. Sliding off tackles, not picking up runners, just a catalogue of errors so far. And again, it's important. There's only 9 points in this. It's important that Ulster get themselves back in the driving seat here and build upon the lead in which they have.
There's another Treviso player has left the field. Luke McLean has left the field. And Fabio Semenzato, who's a scrum half by professional, has come on. I think he is going to play in the scrum half position. And one wonders where Eduardo Gori goes, probably out onto the wing. And Gori has gone out onto the right wing. And number 22, Fabio Semenzato, is on. And he's another pretty experienced player with 12 Italian caps to his credit. Lewis Stevenson coming on for Ulster. Be interesting to see who comes off.
You get away quicker and I'll start looking to say which is
And it's Ian Henderson is going off. It looks like he's got a bit of a knock. And that left arm of his has been helped off by the Ulster doctor, Michael Webb. Might well be his wrist. So Lewis Stevenson on now for Ian Henderson.
Crouch!
Of course, with Heineken Cup and a long hold season coming up, Ulster don't need too many key players to be injured. Semenzato, penalty. First time was a free kick. Doesn't matter who the scrum half is. If anybody puts the ball in crooked, it's a penalty, and Ulster will be pretty relieved. They've got to just get their composure back, Tony.
Massive sigh of relief, but yeah, Paddy's hit the ball really well in the first half, and again, just has to make his touch, and then they'll start and build this innings once again.
Oh, he's given that a lovely strike from right underneath his own post, so it's a long way from the touchline.
Green line.
So 15-3 at the interval, 15-6 now to Ulster with 8 minutes in the second half played. And remember, Treviso have had in recent years a fair bit of success at Ravenhill. They won the corresponding fixture 2 seasons ago, and last season were denied a victory by the last kick of the game, and it went to a draw. Great take by Tue, nicely done by Ulster at the line-out. Robbie Dyack has it. Marshall on the narrow side. Barbieri pulls him in. Treviso incidentally had 6 forward replacements and 2 back replacements, and they've used both the back replacements. Treviso's captain Antonio Pavanello deciding that he saw something which was not to his taste and he shouldn't interfere. He did that a couple of times against the Clonethley Scarlets a couple of weeks ago.
I don't think there's really too much in there. He claims he's seen something at the back of the ruck. Again, also,
he couldn't get out to there at all.
Possibly the box kick from Paul Marshall there might have been a safer option, just to really ease the tension and get back into the Treviso half. And scrum time again, backs menacing with intent. Tommy Bowe standing between 10 and 12.
Well, it's all about taking the right option and executing that right option.
Crouch!
10 minutes on, gone just about in the second half.
Set!
Keep it on!
Solid Ulster scrum. Wilson leaves it for Marshall. Needs to put it in front of Jackson. Payne had to stretch. Well away by Gilroy. Swept off to Allen. Kicked by Allen. Tommy Bowe is really legging it. Loamanu's feeling Bowe's hot breath and he gets away well. Loamanu's done splendidly to get that set up. Semenzato gets it back to Di Bernardo, who miscues.
But that's the difference. Playing in the 22, you hear straight away the crowd are back into the game as well. They've been sitting basically with their mouths hanging open for 10 minutes wondering what's going wrong. Great passing. Craig Gilroy keeping his depth better there, and a great catch and give it to see him go, releasing Michael Allen once again.
A fabulous chase by Chris Henry, who covered acres of ground just to close the man down. And Ulster have got the line out. This is Di Bernardo's clearance kick. Not altogether happy with it. Ulster will be happy with it though. Rory Best taken. Barbieri's been penalised for the side entry. Ulster driving forward. Referee playing advantage. Here they come again. Jackson with a cross kick. Here comes Bow. It's gone loose. He's got it done. That must be the try. Mishandled by Treviso.
Again, high-risk strategy from Ulster with the crossfield kick, and I think they can definitely count themselves fortunate to pick that up. Tommy almost looked slightly embarrassed walking back with ball in hand. But again, it's just about building the pressure, getting that Treviso 22, go through the phases. A nice kick by Jackson, possibly too far, but the wingers made a complete hames of that. But right place, right time from Tommy.
Well, Tommy couldn't have timed it any better. Well, what a kick by Paddy Jackson, right on a sixpence. Natalia fumbled, Bow dived, and that's try number 52 for Tommy Bow, and he is still the most prolific try scorer in this competition. Will come as a bit of a relief to Ulster, but there'll be no sitting on laurels, I'm pretty sure. The message will have come down from Mark Anscombe, who's some 10 or 12 feet from us.
Yeah, I think the first 10 minutes of this half of Mark Anscombe's book, I think, will all be written in red. He won't be happy at all. Ulster have basically made something out of nothing there. Let's see if Paddy can slot the kick.
What a wonderful sepulchral silence here at Ravenhill. It has to come in, and it's not going to come in. So 2 out of 4 for Paddy Jackson. But there was nothing wrong with this crossfield kick. He had a wee glance up and he saw that the league's most prolific try scorer was available, and it's ugly to look, a little jump of fury. He really should have held on to that. But Ulster with a third try, leading by 14 points. Marshall, no mistake this time.
7, stop.
And that's a good kick.
Again, just a better body position from Paul Marshall there, standing side on, so if he is unfortunate enough to spill it, the chances are it will go back. Rather than trying to catch the ball in a face-on position, if you fumble it, it's only going one way, and that's forward.
13 minutes gone, 14 points between them. Well taken by the skipper. Roger Wilson with a good tackle. 2 very good games in a row at number 6.
Side entry, 19 white.
Lewis Stevenson gives away the penalty.
19, side.
And I think they're going to go into the corner, which I think at this stage of the game is probably the right option.
But it's a much more Treviso-like in this second half. They've abandoned really that aerial ping-pong that they got involved in the first half and got nothing out of. They're happy to go back to their big set of forwards and try and basically manoeuvre in around the fringes and suck the Ulster defenders in.
Lewis Stevenson, who had a pretty good season last time out. Here come Treviso again. 10 metres or so from the Ulster line. That's well taken at the back, and lots of green and white bodies coming around to support the ball catcher. They'll try to churn it forward. Zani, number 7, and Favaro, number 6, the international back row forwards of last season. And here they go again. This is going to be pretty close. They're about a metre away. Referee tells Ulster to get away from it. Paul Marshall is off his line. He's got to stay behind that spill forward. Luke Marshall gives it an almighty thump. And Michael Allen is legging it. It might bounce handily for Treviso, and it does. And Michael Allen has done well to close it down. He's got a fair old turn of pace, you know, Michael Allen, hasn't he?
He's like a hair out there, but again, on the line, Paddy Jackson putting himself in a great position here. You see him staying on his feet, getting in, just doing enough to slow the ball down. Treviso then pick and come round the corner, and that's where the fumble comes from, and Marshall release with the kick. But well played, Paddy Jackson.
But Marshall did well in such a confined space and with very little in the way of time to get it away. And it was a very good kick, and Michael Allen putting a lot of pressure on.
5 is legal through the middle.
Not altogether sure that was straight.
Hands away now, White.
Leave told to get their hands away. They have to stop just committing these little errors. They're starting now to be very close to giving away penalties. Referees told Treviso to use it, and they do eventually. Well, how did Favaro get through? Rory Best brings him to ground. Semenzato, Zani. Good defence by Ulster. Back in the Treviso side, Best up very quickly. Takes down Dean Budd, the hat-trick man last time out here at Ravenhill.
Offside White.
Ulster offside. Penalty advantage to
Time off.
Treviso. I think Ulster have committed, have given away more penalties
go away. I've asked you
in the
about
opening 15 minutes of this half than all of the
I'm not
first.
telling you.
We talked about the first half in terms of how good the defence was at the side of Ruck and Mall, and they've been tested and tested well, but in the second half that's where we were slipping off, and that's where Treviso were really putting the screws on. The pick and go around the corner, Ulster getting caught fringing, and the referee is now, he's in tune with that. He's looking for Ulster sliding off the side of things, and as you say, we've given away 3-4 penalties.
Well, he's given Rory Best a moment or so to have a little word with the Ulster players. And Alberto Di Bernardo going for the corner and finds a pretty decent touch. Well, there was the forward drive. Ulster just straying offside. You've got to be behind the rear foot. There's an imaginary line at the back of rucks and mauls, which you must observe. Good challenge by Ulster, sloppy ball. Roger Wilson may just have nudged that forward, but the referee says yes, he did. But he's still playing advantage. DiMarchi into Best, and Stevenson there too. And if Ulster can hang on to this and the referee blows his whistle, Ulster will get the put into the scrum. I think Treviso might have. No, they haven't gone to ground. Great defensive work by Ulster.
Good old-fashioned second row play by Lewis Stevenson. He's so effective in there. Big long levers, but also incredibly strong. And certainly Ulster will lose nothing for him coming on in the second half, the way that Treviso are playing. He'll stand toe-to-toe and go with them in those tight confrontations.
Well, Rory Best and the ever-present Chris Henry did the holding up, but look at Stevenson came in and just kept his man off the ground right up until the point where the referee blew the whistle. Well, at this stage in the first half, Ulster had really dominated everything in terms of territory. And Treviso were threatening to do something similar at this stage in the second half. No sign of any other replacements warming up at the moment. Paul Marshall, who played in the opening game, and then watched as Ian Porter took his chances in games 2 and 3.
Very simple to you. You come closer at the outset. Okay, I come down, say crouch, we come down. We don't move from that position. We clear? Let's play. Time on Marshall, please.
Well, Ricky Lutton has stood up well. It looked as if at one stage after that leg injury that he was going to leave the field, but he's still there. The only change in the Ulster side has been one that's been forced upon them by the injury to Ian Henderson, and one hopes it's not too serious.
Set. Early green.
Free kick against Treviso for early engagement.
Early green, all of you, early.
Don't think Ulster will be going for the scrum here, do you?
No, they'll clear their lines. But again, I think the referee's done very well at scrum time this evening. He's taken a real good firm grip on it. There's been occasions whenever it's been very simple. If it hasn't gone well, he's been happy to give a penalty or a free kick, and that's kept the game moving, and that's what we want to see.
A terrific clearance kick by Paddy Jackson. Treviso will have the throw, but Jackson has gone from deep inside his 22 to midway between the halfway line and the opposition 10-metre lines. There's nothing wrong with Paddy Jackson's kicking from hand. Kicking for goal could be a little bit more refined, perhaps. Spoiled by Ulster, knocked forward, I think, by Treviso. Well, how the referees let that go, I've absolutely no idea. Ulster up quickly. Good tackling in the middle of the park. Great work by Roger Wilson. Stemenzato, good pick-up by Di Bernardo. Ricky Lutton gets in the way. Dean Budd across the halfway line. Luke Marshall with the tackle. Looking much more ominous now. This fella can fly if he's given a bit of room, Ludo Natalia. Di Bernardo. Tackle was by Dan Tui. Have Ulster turned that one over? I think they have, you know. Good work in the ground by Tom Court. Marshall's not in his normal position. Tommy Bowe gets it away. Henry to Luke Marshall. There he goes. Gets it to Jared Payne. Payne gets away on the outside, almost. Good support from Stevenson. Well laid back by the big fella. Marshall to Jackson. Allen now, was he in front? Allen, oh, well taken. Knocked forward. No try, I'm afraid, for Craig Gilroy. They'll have to come back for the knock forward. That was very, very, very nearly the bonus point try.
Ulster have obviously done their homework well tonight. This is an option that they've used on 3 or 4 occasions with different degrees of success. Good turnover again by Lewis Stevenson. They're grappling hard for the ball, and we see him involved again off the Marshall break with hands to Payne, but it's Stevenson again making a big impact off the bench in the second half.
Payne did well to release that, and again that little, well, eye blink of a look up by Paddy Jackson, and Allen so very close. I think, you know, he was tackled in the air. If we're looking at that again, I think there seemed to be, he was interfered with in the air, but the ball had left him at that stage. So whether the referee took that into account or not, Jared Payne, I think, is leaving the field, and Darren Cave is coming on. Payne just limping a little bit, and at this stage of the game, with a quarter of the game to go, and also leading by 14 points, best to take him off, and Nick Williams is coming on for Roger Wilson. Well, big round of applause for a genuine crowd pleaser.
A lot of debate about the Nick Williams decision in terms of could this be his position in terms of that last 20-25 minutes, launching him off the bench. If he can get some go forward ball, maybe something they've lacked, Ulster have lacked at the start of this second half, so hopefully he can get some ball in hand and create some havoc.
Set.
Treviso is put in. Good squeeze by Fernandez Rue. Paul Marshall trying to disrupt, and he's done well. Barbieri had to go to ground. Semenzato has a glance. There's nobody behind him. He's going to have to take this on himself, which he does pretty successfully. So confirmation, Williams on for Wilson and Cave on for Payne.
The ball is playable.
Pedro De Santo, another Argentinian born in Cordoba, has come on. Good take by Stevenson. Marshall, well picked up by Luke Marshall. Lucky Lupton almost got in the way there. Paul Marshall, good change of direction. Referee half blocked it.
Two stop!
That needs to sit up, and it does sit up, but good covering back by Treviso. Di Bernardo.
Touched, all on.
Referee, I think, says that's touched Nick Williams. Good covering by Gilroy. Marshall has a glance. Chris Henry. Ulster have conceded about 5 meters. Well done by Henry. Got the body round well. Here goes Nick Williams. Gets it away to Robbie Dyack. Quicker ball now. Jackson. Darren Cave. Luke Marshall. Marshall was down 2 outside, and all they have to do is to give it to Best. What a return to Ravenhill by Rory Best. And it's Ulster's skipper gets the bonus point try for his side.
Great set of hands. It doesn't look Marshall just oozes class. Everything he does. Great hands, great pick up earlier on in the movement. But both the speed and the awareness to find guys outside him, it just really, really makes the part, Jim.
Okay.
Well, he was so looking forward to donning the white jersey and looking forward just as much to leading the side out. He's worn the jersey with distinction. He's led with great character and charisma, and he scored the try, which gives Ulster the bonus point.
So invariably that you find Rory Best being the first man in support in terms of outside with backs, but just we see that look again at Marshall, ball in 2 hands, spots the outside, skins him for pace, able to transfer, takes a big hit, but still gets the offload away. But Rory so often finds himself that supporting shoulder. He scores an awful lot of tries for a hooker.
Well, there was nothing wrong with that tackle. It wasn't high at all. It was a good solid tackle by the Tongan-born Christian Loa Manu. Here it is again. Marshall got the pass away well. Just got outside Campagnaro, who's pretty quick. The only thing was the tackle a little bit
that's a fair tackle
on the late side. They've had a look upstairs, and Marshall Kilgore has decided that it was a fair tackle. He really couldn't pull out of it, and there was no malicious intent there. Now watch Marshall. He's about to get the ball away, and The tackle went in almost instantaneously.
It's man and ball together. Very akin to Duplessis on Carter in the South Africa-New Zealand game a couple of weeks ago. But in that instance, the South African got a yellow card.
Very, very, very unfairly, as it turned out. He got a second yellow card and was sent off, but the red card has been rescinded. Deary me. Paddy Jackson has missed again, so that's 2 out of 5 by Paddy Jackson. And you know, had those kicks gone over, Ulster would really have been in something of a comfort zone. That apart, Jackson's play has been outstanding, but Luke Marshall has had another great return to rugby after a long period of illness, or injury, I should say. Williams out of the blocks like a sprinter, albeit a 20-stone sprinter. Luke Marshall. Now, why did he do that? There's no need to do that, and he's given it away. Chakato takes it forward. Ball back with Treviso, who are certainly not going to give this game up. Fernandez Ruiz sets it up. Taken on by Robert Barbieri. Semenzato on the narrow side. Good tackle by Nick Williams on the Argentinian prop. Somebody's going to get bent. Lewis Stevenson had been warned before, and Lewis Stevenson finds himself in the bin. And this is not going to help Ulster's cause. 16 minutes to go, and they're 19 points ahead.
Well, that's unfortunate, but again, it was coming. The referee had stated his point quite clearly that somebody was going to go for the next offence, and it's a shame for Lewis, because both himself and Nick Williams have been very, very much to the forefront since they've come on, bringing that dynamism and impact from the bench.
Ulster's first yellow card of the season. Last year they topped the Fair Play League with the fewest yellow and red cards. They didn't have any red cards at all, but the fewest yellow cards of the whole season. Here come Treviso again, looking for something from this. Pavanello is in there. Semenzato. Di Bernardo, good tackle by Nick Williams. Now, did that go forward? Not so, says the referee, I think. Semenzato. Ulster slowing it down. Referee telling them to get the hands out of it. This could be another yellow card. Well, he is telling them. He's being very fair. And Robbie Dyack, the last man up. Well, Ulster lucky to get away with that.
Yeah, they were. I suppose in some ways you could say it was good from Robbie Dyack in terms of he's managed to give away the penalty, only the penalty, and managed to keep himself on the pitch as well. But they are going to have to be careful. We saw Munster last week, had 3 yellow cards in the second half against Treviso. Basically played most of that second half then with only 13 men, and in the end that's what cost them the victory. Treviso came back into it well, but discipline around the fringes is going to be key as this season goes on. Referees are very, very hot in this as well. Don't think Lewis can have too many complaints there.
Well, he went into the right angle, but he let his lower body sort of slew round. Michael Heaney has come on to win his 10th Ulster cap. Another member of the Ulster squad who went to the Tbilisi Cup competition in Georgia, where he played all 3 games, 2 of them as replacements.
Time on Marsh, please.
Still
come in closer, Green.
Just under 15 minutes to go.
Crouch!
And though Ulster have got the bonus point try count, the game is still not copper fastened. Solid Treviso scrum, down it goes. They'll have to do it again.
Possibly watch out for a back row move here. Ulster have decided just to scrum with the 7. So potentially if Treviso can work something off the back of the scrum with no Ulster number 8 to cover inside the flanker, a little bit of space may occur.
Well, they're scrummaging with 2 flankers. Yeah, Nick Williams has gone into the second row, so they're scrummaging without a number 8, which means that the whole makeup of the back 5 is a little bit on the loose side, because they haven't got a big strong fella in between the 2 second rows to pull it all together. So Chris Henry on one side and Robbie Dyack on the other will need to be pretty alert. But the important thing is that they scrum their socks off.
Bind! Set!
Ulster warming up Rob Herring on the far side. That's not a bad Ulster scrum, given they're conceding a man. Little dart in the narrow side, well taken by Chris Henry. Semenzato not finding a way over. Again, they go forward. Oh, he goes for the line and he hasn't got there. What a great shutting of the door that was by Ulster and by Nick Williams. Thundering tackle yet again. It was Callum Black, the replacement for Tom Court. Still Treviso batter at the Ulster line, and still Ulster dig in. And away they go again. Try to move it wide, then they bring it in close. Natalia held up well yet again by Ulster. Great defending. They don't want this line crossed if they can possibly avoid it. Treviso. Pass was forward. Great defending by Ulster.
Great defending. Something tells me Nick Williams not too happy about being in the bench. He's been absolutely everywhere with since he's come on, but that's outstanding defence. Good organisation from Michael Heaney. Guys staying in their channels. That's another monstrous hit.
Well, Williams launched his close to 20 stones, and when he takes that ball and keeps the body low, now he has that little tendency to offload one-handed. On this occasion it worked. And this is he again. Dips down, strong enough to get it away, and Dyack in support. Nicely done.
Crouch!
Confirmation that Tom Court has gone off in number 17.
Bind.
Callum Black
Set.
is on.
Yes, mate.
Interesting. Luke Marshall has gone in to play flanker. Dyack gets it away. Michael Heaney. Oh, he's done well. What a very good clearance by Michael Heaney. No angle at all.
Outstanding play.
Kept us cool.
Yeah, good work from Robbie Dyack under pressure at the back. Great feet from Michael. Inside, outside, and then deciding just to put the long touch finder in. Makes it comfortably.
Callum Black slipped on very quietly for British Irish line Tom Court. Rory Best is still on the field. Oh, right into the middle. This is Semenzato. Away he goes. Taken off at the ankles. Tommy Bowe was in there. Ulster starting to tire a little bit. Pedro De Santo. Semenzato. Bernardo. Loa Manu gets very close. All the pressure coming from the men in green. A try looks pretty inevitable. And again, Ulster just digging in and showing great resilience. Semenzato. Henry told to get out of it. Semenzato. Di Bernardo. Big tackle by Craig Gilroy. 5 meters to go. Dean Budd's score of a hat-trick last time here at Ravenhill against Ulster. Slower ball. Semenzato back inside. That must be the try. It is. They've just managed to squeeze over. And it's Roberto Barbieri, the replacement.
It worked out really nicely, just the inside slip from the scrum half, and again Ulster just falling away at the fringes slightly there, but with a number down up front, that sort of intensive pressure usually comes around with a score. We just see the inside ball here, rides the tackle, fair score.
Well, he scored a try or two in his time, Barbieri. That's his 12th in this league competition. Nicely done back inside, and though Ulster had men there, the momentum was with the Italian international. Solid fella, low to the ground. Looks more like a prop forward than a back row forward, but he took it well.
I don't think it's really anything less than Treviso deserved, Jim, in the second half either. It's a well-worked score, but both possession, territory and the amount of pressure they brought to bear, it's been due.
Bernardo from a very narrow angle and a very good kick indeed, showing the value of accurate goal kicking. 12 points between them. Well, they've got about 9 minutes remaining, and there we said 2 converted tries would win this game for the Italians. They came so close the last time here, remember.
Time off. 15 white.
I think certainly Treviso are edging this in the second half. They've been
and 2 white.
Precise, they've been accurate. Ulster have played in fits and starts, and almost, as you say, look tired a little bit in the second half here, and we see a couple of fresh blood coming off the bench.
Rob Herring is coming on for Rory Best, who's done a terrific job, and James McKinney is going to come on, normally an outside half, and it looks like he's going to play fullback for the first time for Ulster. What a return Rory Best has had. Ulster just waiting a little bit. Herring is on. Treviso inside their 22 now. They're going to try to drive their way out of it and set something up. If they kick it into touch, it'll be an Ulster ball, needless to say. They may well try to keep it in field, and they have done that, but there's not much distance on it. Back in the Treviso side, that looked to be knocked forward.
He knocked it forward. Yeah.
Ian Davis quite adamant, and with a little smile on his face, says sorry about that, old son. It was knocked forward. Ball was all over the place. Yeah, he did get a hand to that, which is rather unfortunate for the Treviso hooker, Enrico Ceccato. Michael Allen has just looked very slightly infield.
And James McKinney standing at outside half.
Paddy Jackson's gone to outside centre or thereabouts. Treviso not settling at all, trying to disrupt the scrum.
Post engagement, both sides, please. But get your bind up, please, as well. Bind up higher.
7 minutes remaining. Ulster heading for their first bonus point win of the season, we think.
Yes.
Heaney gets it in. Treviso get the squeeze on. Dyack at number 8 manages to secure it, but it was a good Treviso scrum, and also give away the penalty, which they didn't really need to do.
It's a little bit harsh possibly there in Robbie Dyack. Pressure's come on very, very early from their 9. He doesn't have any option with the scrum going back apart from to pick it up, but he's been given no time by either Treviso or the referee to do much with it.
What does it say about Nick Williams' ability to control the ball at the back of the scrum? That although Williams is on the field for Roger Wilson, it was Dyack who was playing number 8 in that scrum.
Yeah, Ulster have struggled with the ball at the back of the scrum. Even Roger, who usually is very, very competent, I think that's the only part of his game that he'll be disappointed with tonight. But whenever the scrum is retreating like that, as a number 8, what's your first option? Ideally, get hands on it and secure possession. Fight for those inches rather than the yards.
Well, Treviso's got possession from the line out. Back from Valerio Bernabo. There's the try scorer. Semenzato, Di Bernardo. Paddy Jackson underneath.
Advantage wide, knocked on green.
Knocked on by Treviso. Referee's playing advantage. Also need to get it away. Well taken by Tommy Bowe. Not so well passed. Still there. Ball's gone backward. Luke Marshall, the referee, will bring them back for the scrum. Ulster 6s and 7s there, and a very anxious looking Treviso shutting them down pretty quickly.
Almost a case of yours, wasn't it? I don't want it. That's who wants to take it up. I'm not sure what quite happened there between Marshall and Bowe, but almost played herself into a bit of a pickle.
Fortunately, the knock forward gave Ulster the scrum, and Lewis Stevenson is back on, so Ulster will have their full complement of 8 forwards. Lewis Stevenson will be pretty cross with himself.
It is if he did, yeah.
As we mentioned, the first yellow card of Ulster's season.
Come in closer, you two, in closer. Crouch!
Still a very strong-looking Treviso side, remember.
Bind! Set! Yes, 9.
Heaney taking his time getting in again. Treviso get that swing round, and Ulster pick it up. And it's gone round through 90 degrees, and Treviso get the put into the scrum. No sign of the man who's on a 1-year contract, Ulster, Bronson Ross, coming on the tight head side yet.
I think he just brought about his appearance.
Yeah, he is warming up. Ricky Lutton has done really well to soldier on with what looked like a nasty ankle tweak.
Bind!
So 4.5 minutes to go. Treviso will be looking at the very least for a bonus point. Also to give away the free. They're not back to 10 metres. Good tackle there by Michael Heaney. Ulster being told to get away. Penalties being conceded left, right and centre. Good bit of scragging by Nick Williams. Di Bernardo has to go himself into Stevenson. Treviso right underneath the Ulster post, looking for another try. Good finish by the visitors. Taken on by Dean Budd. Knocked forward, back on the Ulster side. They may just have scraped possession back somehow.
Release now being off the floor. You play the ball, it's fine.
Heaney and gets it away again. Not quite the same distance, but it's safe.
Hard to put your finger in the second half in terms of what's going wrong for Ulster. They're probably quite glad that Treviso didn't turn up really in the first half and play like this, because in the second half it's been basically wall-to-wall domination.
Well, Callum Black grafting away at the breakdown. So off comes Ricky Lutton, who's had a pretty good night for most of this game in the front row, and on comes Bronson Ross for his first full cap, the 28-year-old, who's had spells with Boroughmuir and Guernica in Spain, and has played with Dunedin back in his native New Zealand. Shortened line out. So that's been knocked forward. No, says the referee. Semenzato, Fernandez Rue, tackled by Ross. Straight into action. Semenzato looking for a runner. That's gone loose. Picked up again. Ulster really should have claimed that. Simone Favaro. Herring gets out of the way. Ulster went for the interception. Knocked on by Green. Kicked away by Robbie Dyack. Michael Heaney is herring it down the park. Ludo Natalia. Where's he going to go? McKenny can't hold him. Good work by Dyack and by the speedy Herring. Ulster just outside the 22 of Treviso, who passed it back. That needs to be secured. Williams just about gets it. Tommy Bowe with oodles of time. Bernabo. Natalia gets it wide.
Hands away, White!
Referee telling Ulster to get the hands away. He's been pretty harsh in the home side in the second half. Di Bernardo. This is Dean Budd. Good tackle by Michael Heaney. Tried to get the ball on the ground as well. Took all his weight on his legs. Di Bernardo. Ulster closing down pretty quickly. Pedro De Santo upended. Still there. Good work by Callum Black and by Stevenson. Just about a minute and a half to go. And the crowd now realizing that victory is there. And the visitors, well, unless they produce something in the last few seconds, likely to go away empty-handed from Ravenhill. Di Bernardo. Good tackle by Dan Tue. Semenzato, Dean Budd. Bit of support from Christian Loamanu. Luke Marshall in the middle of all of that. So Treviso players down injured. Treviso not using it quickly enough. Dean Budd tries to go forward, but he's going nowhere. Still there. Nick Williams with the tackle. Chris Henry, as ever, in the middle of it all. Good work by Henry. Fernando Ruiz knocks it on. Referee waits for advantage. Still there, play on, he says. Here come Ulster. Play on, here's Tommy Bowe with Allen outside him. Allen looking for a second. Allen's going to get a second. Try number 5. What a finish. Michael Allen can't stop scoring. His second of the night. Ulster's 5th. They made us all worry a little bit. But Michael Allen has rounded off a not a bad evening's work for this Ulster side.
He certainly knows what the try line is, but I think he